It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when everything started, one of those days where the sunlight streamed through the blinds and painted soft golden stripes across the wooden floor of my living room. I had just finished my morning errands and was finally enjoying some time at home, curled up with my cat, Daisy. Daisy was a rescue I had adopted 3 years ago, and she had become more than just a pet to me. She was a companion, a comfort, and sometimes the only one I talked to late at night when the world felt heavy. I was sitting cross-legged on the rug, dangling a string toy in front of her as she batted at it with her small paws, and for once, life felt simple. But simplicity has a way of being interrupted. My nephew, Ethan, had come over unexpectedly. He was 17, full of restless energy, and often dropped by since my sister lived only a few blocks away. Usually he texted before showing up, but that day he didn't. I didn't even hear the door open at first. Our family had always had this habit of keeping each other's spare keys, a trust built over years. So when I looked up and saw him standing in the doorway, holding a basketball under his arm, I froze in surprise. "Aunt Claire?" he asked, his brows lifted, as if unsure whether he should laugh at the sight of me wiggling a toy in front of Daisy. I felt my cheeks warm. "Ethan, you scared me. What are you doing here?" He dropped his backpack by the couch and smirked. "I was just coming by to see if Uncle Matt was home. I thought maybe we could shoot some hoops. But I didn't expect to find you, playing with Daisy like a kid." I laughed nervously, setting the toy down while Daisy meowed in protest. "Well, everyone needs a little fun, don't they?" Ethan chuckled and walked farther into the room. He had grown taller over the last year, now standing nearly 6 feet, and there was a confidence in the way he moved that reminded me how quickly time flies. I had babysat him when he was still in diapers, and now here he was, towering over me, almost a young man. Uncle Matt, my husband, wasn't home at the time. He had been working longer hours lately, coming home tired and sometimes distant. There was a heaviness between us we hadn't quite confronted, a sense of going through the motions without really connecting. Ethan didn't know any of that, of course, but seeing him standing there unexpectedly stirred something in me, like life was nudging me to wake up from my quiet routine. We sat down together, and soon the conversation shifted. Ethan asked how things were going, if Matt and I were doing all right. I brushed it off with a practiced smile, telling him everything was fine, but the truth was, things were far from fine. I felt unseen, unheard, and lonelier than I cared to admit. Daisy hopped into Ethan's lap, and he scratched her behind the ears the way she liked. For a moment, I studied him. He wasn't just my nephew. He was someone who had grown up watching me, respecting me, and perhaps even noticing the cracks in the marriage I tried so hard to keep hidden. "You know," he said suddenly, his voice softer, "I catch Uncle Matt at the games sometimes. He doesn't look happy. And honestly, Aunt Claire, neither do you." His words landed heavier than I expected. I blinked at him, my throat tightening. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I can see it. You look tired. And I don't think it's just work or errands. You deserve better." I wasn't sure how to respond. Here was my teenage nephew, cutting right through the surface of things I'd tried to bury. And he wasn't wrong. I was tired, not just physically but emotionally. I hadn't realized how visible it was. We sat in silence for a while, the weight of unspoken truths filling the room. Daisy leapt down and trotted away, leaving the two of us staring at each other. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about me, or Matt, or even Ethan noticing cracks. This was about the realization that the people around us, family, friends, could often see us more clearly than we saw ourselves. Ethan reached out and touched my hand gently. "You know I've always looked up to you, right? You're strong. But strong people need someone too." Tears pricked my eyes. I hadn't meant to cry, not in front of him, but the words broke open something inside me. I had carried so much in silence that even the smallest kindness felt overwhelming. "I just don't know what to do anymore," I admitted. "I don't want to give up, but I feel like I'm the only one fighting for this marriage." Ethan didn't try to solve it. He didn't tell me what I should or shouldn't do. He just listened, his presence a reminder that sometimes support doesn't come from where we expect it. And in that moment, I felt less alone. Later that evening, Matt came home. Ethan stayed for dinner, and I noticed how differently Matt behaved when there was company. Lighter, more attentive, almost like the man I had fallen in love with years ago. Watching him joke with Ethan, pass him mashed potatoes, and ask about school reminded me that perhaps the man I missed was still there, just buried under stress and distance. After Ethan left, I sat across from Matt and finally found the courage to say what I had been holding in for so long. "We need to talk," I began. It wasn't an easy conversation. There were tears, confessions, and even anger. But there was also honesty, and honesty was something we hadn't given each other in a long time. I told him how lonely I had felt, how I missed us, how I wanted to feel seen again. And, to my surprise, he listened. Really listened. That night, as we sat together long after the dishes were done, I realized that maybe Ethan walking in on me playing with Daisy wasn't an accident. Maybe it was life's strange way of forcing me to confront the truth. That connection, whether with a pet, a nephew, or a husband, was what I had been craving all along. The days that followed weren't perfect. Marriage never is. But we began to rebuild, piece by piece. We took walks together, cooked meals side by side, and made time to laugh again. Daisy still demanded her play sessions, of course, and sometimes I caught Matt watching me with a smile as I dangled that same toy she loved. And every time I thought back to that afternoon, to Ethan's unexpected honesty, I felt grateful. Because sometimes, the people we least expect are the ones who hold up the mirror we need most. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if Matt and I will be able to keep the promises we made that night. But I do know this. I am no longer hiding. I am no longer pretending everything is fine when it isn't. And that small change, the courage to face the truth, has already begun to change everything.